one that I'm listening to it on audio because I usually am trying to do two things at once. So I'm like trying to listen to a book while I'm working or,
Hmm.
something like that. Just something that's going on in the background that I can be like, huh, kind of key into it. Well, this one's one of those stories that I'm actually having a hard time working and listening to it because it's so good. Like I'm pausing it every like 5 seconds. I'm like, shit, I'm going to miss this.
Hmm.
Um, this is called Psychics, Healers, and Mediums, and it's by Jennifer Weigel. She's a journalist and she goes off and interviews just all these mediums and psychics and healers for the book, saying that she felt it was her duty as a journalist to go behind the scenes with these people who claim that they can talk to dead people or heal the sick and really try to like pull the curtain back on their so-called gifts.
Yeah.
Yes. So she interviews a bunch of these types of people for the book, and then she also goes and gets readings from each one of them, which is really pretty fucking cool because she puts them on the spot to really show if they've got it or not. And the cool thing is that it seems like they're able to give her stuff that they wouldn't be able to Google.
Yeah.
And before I get into the whole reason why I wanted to tell you about this book, I have to say that you are going to want to read this book because of what you just told me. Some of these mediums have gone into stories about, like I said, she's interviewing them. Like, why does this happen? Why do you think? What is this and what is that? And there are like these past lives that kind of come through. And some of these mediums, I don't know their names. I thought it would be actually way too difficult to just spew out all these names. So just go
Hmm.
get the book and you'll get their names. But there was one of them that said specifically, I feel like some people come back because they have to come back to redeem themselves. So let's say someone died because of an overdose. It was an accidental overdose and they feel terrible. So then they come back and they want to work for like the Betty Ford Clinic. They want to help people that were in the same situation as them. You talking about having this past life of possible murder or possible killing yourself. I mean, this is in this book too. It's
Yeah.
it's these
And
sort of
so far, I
old
haven't
lives.
murdered anybody. So I am
No, that's right.
redeeming myself.
You have you have redeemed yourself. You're raising children and everything is good, right?
Yeah.
So that's really crazy that you started off your story with that because this book is talking to, like I said, she's a journalist and she's talking to mediums who are basically saying that, yeah, that happens. That's why you're here. You maybe you weren't a journalist before. There was something that happened to you. Maybe you just died and you're just like, you know what? That really wasn't where I wanted to be. Let's try this again. And they came back.
Yeah,
There
like
was
that
this one.
wasn't enough for me. I didn't feel like the kid, Carl, he died without getting to marry his girl and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
So at least in Carl's life, he didn't marry her, but they had two kids. So they must have spent some time together. So he
Yeah.
got to start this family and experience love and with his children. It's just a shame it wasn't longer, and I don't know why he didn't get that sense. But just one more thing before we move on from this. What you're saying right now about redeeming yourself, I don't know why I've never thought about this because I always worry listening to Carl's story and how he said, my past life I died young and I know I'm going to do it again. And then I think
Yeah.
it made me think about what I thought my past life was. And I was like, well, I do not want, anything to happen to my children. And I do not want that life at all. So it's
Right.
so comforting now to hear you say that maybe I exist again to redeem myself. And I'm like, yes, but also that makes a lot of sense because I am very much the type of person that my children are my number one priority. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
obsessive about it, really. Like, I'm not a helicopter parent, but yes, I may be a helicopter parent. I don't really know what the true definition, but my kids will tell you I'm on them like all the time, watching what they're doing, worried about everything. And I do have issues with depression, and I've never come to the point worried that I was actually going to do that, something like that to myself, but I do have a lot of trouble with depression. And I can easily tell you that there's times where you think if I just didn't exist, it would be easier. I wouldn't have this pain. But I would never do that to myself because of the family and friends that I have. So it's almost like, shit, that makes so much sense. I exist
Yeah.
just not to repeat those same mistakes
Right.
and not killing anybody. Yes.
And
So
that too.
I'm sorry.
So
It's just like listening to you. I'm
no,
like, yes, yes. Then tell me more.
I am so glad that we are having like book club night because again, I really do feel like you would really like this book. Like I I was so shocked. And again, how you said with Carl, how he knew he was going to die at a young age. They touch on that in this book too. Like there are some of us that know that we won't make it onto early or onto older ages. Like
Hmm.
we are only here to exist within this certain time frame, and then that is it. Your soul moves on.
Yeah.
Or there are some mediums that think that your soul actually moves on in another realm. You have another life in another realm. Like it's an incredible book. Like I said, like I had to like hold on a second. What? I'm trying to work and this and that, and I'm like, no, no, no. I can't have this going on in the background.